Well, good morning to my fan base, my millions, possibly thousands or hundreds, or the 10 of you that actually might watch this video. I'm going to talk about the Alaskan chainsaw mill that I've been using to make some boards. So I'll go ahead and show you that. The purpose of it is to build a base for a deer stand and just some studs for a deer stand. So we've been using this. We'll get into that in a minute. It's a cool morning, October 30th. It's Sunday. It's 31 degrees, and believe it or not, I was actually able to get a fire going this morning simply by rubbing two sticks together, which I'm getting pretty good at. So that went pretty well. So we're just going to use that to warm our hands up a little bit, and we'll show you what we were going to do here in a little bit. Okay, so what we have here, we have our setup. We got the mill over there with the saw. Now I use a John Jude 2172, I believe it is. So it's a 70cc saw, so it's pretty big. They say to use a bigger saw for milling, which is good. More power. I got a 20-inch bar, and I did buy a ripping chain. Ripping chains are filed at the 10 degrees versus the 30 degrees that the full chisel chains are. I will tell you that I noticed a huge difference with the speed with the ripping chain. Regular chain will cut too, but it also cuts it very jagged, which if you're just chainsaw milling, I mean, that really doesn't matter. Here's a board that I was cutting out of. I think this one's actually 10 inches wide, but I got a little bit of rot on the corners, so I am getting, this is 5 feet 4 inches long, and the end product, which is right here, is my 2x6, which I cut about 1 3/4 thick, because I like it a little longer. It's 5 foot 4 inches long, which I only want it to be 5 feet long, so I have plenty, and it's pretty darn straight. And actually with this ripping chain, it's pretty smooth, like no slivers. I got these boards for my rail. So what I do, and there's all kinds of YouTube videos out there, right, with what people do and what they use. So I got this idea from a video where they actually use steel, like 1/8 inch plate or 1/4 inch plate or whatever. And I just kind of took that design and I use it with scrap wood that I have laying around, just because I don't know how much I'm going to use it, and it was free rather than going out and buying the parts. So what you do is you measure and you find the center of your log, which my mark is right there for the center of the log. You do that for both sides. Come over to this side, I found the center of my log, and I want to get as much board as I can out of here. The goal is to get a couple 2x6s, so I think we should be able to get at least 2 of those out of this one. So you drill a hole every inch, put a level on top, and you get this level. So then you start your cut. So with the other side, I still have to do the same thing. Put the level on. Want to get this guy so it's where it needs to be. So I'll get the level on there. I'll screw that in. Got to put the camera down to do that. I'll screw that in place, and then I'll put my guide rail boards on there. These are just regular 2x4s, and sometimes when you put the 2x4 on, it can slide back and forth. So what I actually did is I just took a screw and I put in there, so then it can't slide back and forth on me, especially on these mornings when it's frosty. So we'll put that on, we'll get this leveled up, and then we'll show you making a cut. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a 2x6 here. I already got this leveled out. It's already flat, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that in real time. Probably be under 2 minutes. Chainsaw's running. So we'll make one of these first. You'll see the finished product before we go ahead with our initial cut on the other one. nice smooth cut. Now, what I do, you can measure this out many ways, right? To make sure I'm square, all I do is take a 1x5 that I already have laying around, 1x5.5 actually, and I just trace it. And that way I make sure that I'm square, and then I take it to a skill saw or a table saw or whatever you got, and just cut it out. And your finished product will be the 2x6 I showed you over there. Okay, so now I made my second 2x6 over here. I got that sawed off, and this is what I have left, are these slabs. So I might be able to even take a 1-inch board out of these yet. Maybe you'll get like a 1x4 or 5 by the time you get this stuff that's a little punky on the side. Same thing with this one. I know you're punky to here and there, but you know, we're 9¼ inches across, so there should be a 4 or 5-inch piece in there that's decent still. So what you do is take your measuring tape and you want to measure your depth. Sorry. So from the bottom of that to the top of that, we're at just 7.5 inches. So set it between 7.5 and 7¾ because I don't want my chainsaw chain to be cutting through my piece here, through my plywood. So you got to come over to your saw, and this is a Granberg sawmill. I don't know if I said that or not. And this is where we're going to move this, loosen these two pieces up, and move it up here to 7.5. I'll measure again just to double check, and then I'll start making that first cut. Okay, so I got it up on the rail system here. I actually moved to 7¾ just to make sure. You can see how these screws are stopping this. They're locked in place. My cut's going. Turn my saw off. It's pretty level here, pretty even. We're gonna finish sliding down this rail. We'll clear that other one, and then we can make some actual 2x4s. Oh yeah, we're just 7.5 inches across. We'll make them actual 2, 4. We'll get 2 solid ones out of here anyways, or we could go to 1.5 like there from the factory and maybe squeeze one more out. We'll see what I feel like doing. Okay, I made it through with the saw, as you can see. So if you guys bear with me, you're going to get the exclusive first look at the cut. Take our 2x4s out of there. I mean, you can make this stuff with stuff you have laying around your house. That's the whole purpose of it. A 2x4, I think in town I just spent $5.80 or something like that with tax for one. And you can do stuff like this yourself. Why not? Got a little crooked right there, and that's because I was trying to go over my sawhorse. And then same down here, I got a little crooked. You know, but for what I'm doing, that's not going to matter. Now this log does happen to be green, so it will shrink down. So this is going to cure over the winter, so I'm just going to rip another one, 2 inches, and I'm just going to let it sit like this, and I'm going to stack it so it can't, try not to bend, flex too much. And the top, maybe I might be able to squeeze another 1x out of here too if I am very careful, but it gets pretty picky if you're going to go ahead and do things like that. I do burn wood for heat, so maybe I'll just use it for that instead. But what I think I'm going to do now is go over to my fire and warm my hands up, because the sun's starting to come up. It's a beautiful morning out, but it's cold. My safety glasses keep fogging up when I'm can't see, so I'm going to go warm up for a little bit, make a few more cuts, and I'll show you the... Okay, so here they are cut. I did just get the 2 out of there, which is fine. This one is about 8 inches wide here and about 7.5 at the other end. This one is right at about I think this one was right at about 6. I mean, well, 7 here, but 6 down there at the other end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip these down to 2x2s. So if I wasn't so darn picky, but I'm going to actually do 2x2s. So this is actually 2 inches by 2s. So that was going to be the brace of my wall when I do decide to build this deer stand. But so I'll be able to get 3 out of this one, 3 out of this one. That's 6. So for each wall, that'll be enough for 1 wall. So all I need is 6 more of these, and I'll be able to do the rest of my wall, which I have a few more boards here that I can rip up. I'm going to get some 2x6s out of this guy, and I'll get a couple. Should be able to get the rest of my 2x2s out of this for the rest of the wall, and if I want to, I can dig into my wood pile and get some of these guys cut up, because these are pretty big. Big lumber is really hard to handle by yourself, but so yeah, that's the gist of it. If you stuck with me through this video, thank you. I appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. Give me some feedback. But this is what I'm using, you know, just out of stuff that I had laying around. So maybe one day I'll get more sophisticated and get some metal and get some rails, and maybe get some longer rails, some longer 2x4s, and make some 10, 12 foot boards. We'll see what happens. So thanks for watching.